jump into the Q&A. Before we do that, let's go ahead and make sure that, for those that haven't been through leverage, that we get you up to speed really quick. So leverage is the magical arts of positive motivation and manipulation. Positive motivation, positive manipulation. So it's using everything we can to help bring value to everyone. This is the first generation model. In that course we went through, and through leverage we came up with some really cool things that not only produced first generation model, but went into engineered clarity, which is the second generation model. And there was only one small tweak in engineered clarity, and it substituted present solutions with internalization. And then what we did is, so that's second generation model. And then it brought it into and fleshed out internalization model as how do we help ourselves internalize things, and then how do we help other people internalize things. And again, you'll get this when you go through the leverage course. You need to do that. And then it moves into change, which then Peter said leads to failure, which is like counterintuitive. Like, I'm doing all this hard work for failure, but then it slides back in and you start it over again. It's the iterations to success. So the engineered clarity model, that one thing, internalization, opened up another whole world of potential in looking at going through how do you actually internalize things. And Tom went ahead and he discovered that, the internalization. He's like, the reason people don't get things is they haven't internalized them. When we internalize things, we create an awakening. That then moved into other models, tons of other models, which is third generation, that then moved into the quantum thinking that added the BOSS system, the DNA for people, DNA for business, DNA for life. That then led into quantum thinking. Super cool stuff, fourth generation thinking. That then went ahead and wrapped up leverage, and now we're moving into the next generation, which is the psychology of people. And in the psychology of people, that is where it opens up into quantum thinking, the awakening, ownership, hard work, and care. So, Alan, you have been a part of the whole process. You've been through the whole journey. You are now leading up not only your team in quantum thinking, but also in empower ownership, and doing those two things together. And that went ahead and then led to your art ownership mastermind group. So helping people, the science of taking ownership. So Alan, why would you encourage people to pursue you and join your ownership mastermind group?
Well, I think that's one of the great challenges of business and life is to take ownership. I have to learn how to take ownership at a deeper level. I have to see what I don't see, and I have to learn how to do what I can't do. And at the same time, I have to help others around me. Otherwise, I won't be able to accomplish what I set out to do. So it's a really critical, important for everyone.
Cool. Any other thoughts you had on everything we shared thus far, Alan?
Well, I think as everybody was talking about, people are the key. And the more you understand people, the more you can help people at a deeper level. Both helps them, but it helps me as well. In order to understand people more deeply, I have to understand myself more deeply. So they go hand in hand, and that's really what self-development, what life is really all about.
And how do you think the psychology of people will help people to understand themselves better?
Well, being new to it, I can't say, but I know from all the other things I've been involved with, the more you internalize them, the more you see things that you haven't seen before, which are sometimes pretty big things.
Nice. Anybody have any questions for Alan, Peter, Randy, Paul? myself.
Good morning, Alan. Long time no see.
Yeah, hey, Peter. Good to hear you.
Okay, so let's keep going. If you need to jump off, thanks, Alan. Appreciate it so much.
All right.
So in the psychology of people, it's actually really simple, but yet really complex, like anything probably significant in life. So often people make things complex that are simple. That doesn't work out well in life. But they also make things simple that are complex, and that doesn't work out so well either. So in the psychology of people, it's an awakening. So helping people to learn how to have an epiphany at will, how to have an awakening at will, and then how to take personal ownership in their life. And so you see all of this happening in the world now, where it seems to me, I'm 55, so it seems to me that the world is progressively degenerating, meaning that people are moving more and more away from taking personal ownership and blaming other people for their situation in life. That's not going to work out well for them. With our 7 kids, I have worked so hard to say, hey, you got to own life. You got to take ownership of what's happening in life, even the things that you don't think are your fault. You still have to own it. And so it's taking ownership. And what we've been doing in Empowering Ownership Project is understanding that we can take too much ownership. And often when people around us are not taking the ownership that they should, what we default to is moms and dads, or as leaders and owners, we go ahead and take on more ownership of stuff which is not healthy for other people around us. So we have to have an awakening, because that empowers us to do the hard work to take more ownership, because that's hard work. That's not easy. The third aspect is working hard. My mom passed away a few years ago, one of the closest people in the world to me, and she went ahead, I remember very distinctly, I was probably whining or complaining, probably 14 or 15 or something, 12, 13, something like that, about having to work so hard. And she said, Mark, you're going to have to go ahead and work hard your whole life. You better get used to enjoying it. Now, what a lot of people think is when you make a boatload of money, you don't have to work so hard. I've been around a lot of people that make a lot of money. Some would say I make a lot of money. Peter has been around a lot of people that make a lot of money. Peter, in your experience, do people who make a lot of money work harder or work less hard, in your experience?
Well, they don't, I would say a couple of things. They don't necessarily see it as, they work hard, but they don't necessarily see it as hard work. And I agree with you that if you take ownership away, you're robbing people of their ability to learn, feel, internalize, all the things, the core principles of how to create leverage, right? And smart people in my book that are happy, that have made a lot of money, don't do that. They have people that work with them, for them, that feel responsibility and take responsibility, and therefore treat the investment or the growth of the entity as if it was their own. And that's the key in life. So whether it's your mother telling you you're going to have to work hard, to me that means you've got to take responsibility for those things that you need to be responsible for. And that's where a lot of these definitions become important. So listen, rich people have made their own wealth, did it because they use the core principles that you've outlined already in leverage, and they recruit people that do the same. So that makes it easier for them to just keep living along, living their life successfully. The work doesn't seem like work because you're taking responsibility, and so are those that work with you and for you.
And one of the favorite things that I had that Tom shares is You can't give something to somebody else that you first don't have. That includes confidence. It includes caring. And so the more leverage we gain, the more we understand in the psychology of people, the more we can care for more people. I don't want to just care for my 7 kids. They're all out of the home now, living independently. A lot of parents are like, 6 out of your 7 kids are millennials. And the youngest one's, whatever that new generation is, he's 18. And so how do you get them all out of the house? And there is a science to that. And so they're all living independently. Maybe not as productive as I'd like them to be at times. But, I think, I'm proud of them. But they are not where I was at when I was their age. That's nothing against them or for me. But I think a lot of millennials they're failing to launch. They're 10 years behind where many in my generation were at their age, and they're going to run out of runway, or they're not going to accomplish as much as they want in life. It's hard to make up a decade or two. And so in the psychology of people, in 17 seconds, you can identify somebody. You go through the psychology of people, you'll identify somebody's personality in 17 seconds. Once you do that, you identify their strengths, weaknesses, what they like, what they don't, turns them on, turns them off, if they're married, who they're married to, conflict marriage. You'll know more about them in 17 seconds than they know about themselves. There's a unbelievable cool client that we just brought on just a few months ago. And this client, is really having challenges in his marriage. And I just talked to him today at the Coffee Connection, and he's like, Mark, you're like a woman whisperer. He's like, we have my wife and I have 1 hour and a half, 45-minute conversation with you, and she's a totally different woman. And I laughed, and I said, actually, she's not different. I just know how to awaken her in a way that in the 4 years, 2 years you've been married, 1 year you were engaged, 1 year you were dating, in the 4 years you've known her, nobody's ever taught you how to awaken your wife, and she is awakening you. And it's like, he just laughed. He's like, it's just crazy how overnight it happened, and it's because of the psychology of people. So this 7-week online course is the foundation, the catalyst for many other courses, which will impact every industry in the world. And so you don't need to know everything that Peter knows, because he's going to be part of this course. You don't need to have all the experiences Tom does, because he's going to be part of this. He's going to embed there. Same thing is true with me. You don't have to be an international speaker. You don't have to have 7 kids. You don't have to have 5 grandkids, 3 sons-in-laws, a daughter. You don't have to be me. You don't have to be Peter. You don't have to be Tom to leverage our experiences into changing your entire industry. You take 90% of this course, and it'll work in any industry, every industry on the planet. Any group of people, it'll change everything. And so all you have to do is take your 10% of your life, you take your 100% of your life, pour it into the 10%, and what you'll do is you will touch people in your worlds that'll be a bigger impact than Tom, Peter, and myself combined. See, people don't understand their significance. They don't understand their significance. They don't understand how much leverage, how much power they have. And that's, like, we want to do that. We want to empower you to see that you can change more than just your spouse, more than your kids, more than your grandkids, more than your community. You can change the world, but you've got to do it in a specific, unique way. Will you be part of the movement, this movement in your industry? That's really the bottom line question. Somebody in your industry, somebody in your expertise, somebody in your community, somebody in your groups that you're part of, write down all the groups you're a part of. Somebody is going to do that. The question is, are you going to step up and do it, or is somebody else? I mean, somebody's going to do it. You have an opportunity that's unique because you're getting to it before your entire industry is exposed. This whole program is put together through Life Masteries Institute and Legacy Partners, which are 501c3 nonprofit organizations. And they have massive millions and millions of databases in all different industries all over the world. And so they want to help you impact your industry, your groups of people. But you got to step up. You can't wait, because if you wait, somebody else in your industry is going to do it. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, and being able to go through and do it. So again, what industry, and if your industry is not on here, your group of people isn't on here, that's okay, in being able to go through it and do it. So what does every industry need? They need the psychology of people. Where is your focus? So in the psychology of people, it could be clients, contractors, vendors, clients, donors. It could be volunteers. It could be members. It could be friends. It could be others. Like, how do you expand your sphere of influence? How do you impact your sphere of influence? You can do it through this course. You may not think you're a genius, but you are. Trust me, you are. But you probably don't have a lot of people telling you that, or they're telling you maybe you're a genius in maybe areas you're not, and not telling you in areas that you are, in being able to go through it. So how would you rate yourself in each of these areas? And then, like recruiting, onboarding, and retention. Now, the psychology of people, that's what it's going to be focused on, recruiting, onboarding, and retention, not of employees, but of anybody in your life. And then this course will be available through Life Masteries and Legacy Partners. They'll be there to assist you in taking this course, customizing it to your specific industry. And the amount of impact that you will have will be massive. Ski, questions, thoughts that you have?
I think you're definitely on the right path with this psychology of people. It's the basis of everything that we do. And when you think about what you said, I firmly believe that everybody's born with this God-given potential, and most people never, ever really tap into it. And the reason they don't tap into it is because, first of all, they don't understand themselves. And then secondly, they don't understand the people that they interact with throughout their life. And as you pointed out, they're blaming other people and other things for the results, when in fact, it all starts with themselves and understanding people, that psychology of people. So this is the linchpin to about anything anybody wants in life.
Nice. Nicole, do you see how you can raise millions of dollars for Untangled Minds, and you can generate multiple millions and millions of dollars in business for Tanglewood Conservatories?
Yeah, I think the psychology of people, just in general, understanding people at a deep level fast is huge. For Tanglewood, for the work we do with the foundation, it could change lives fast.
So are you thinking of one industry in particular that I'm thinking of for you?
Architects.
Yep. Psychology of people for architects. Yep. Psychology of people for architects. The impact that would make on architects all over the world. And so the well-known, the top-of-the-line architects, the ones that are, just way out there, just unbelievable, those are the ones that Tanglewood, are going to partner with in the most amazing way. The architects that maybe are just getting started and don't have a name for themselves, well, Untangled Minds can help them become the architects of the future, of the next generation, the ones that are known worldwide. Untangled Minds can do that. Does that make sense, Nicole?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool. Beth, great to have you on today. Questions or thoughts that you have?
Very interesting, as always.
So are you thinking of the industry for you that I'm thinking?
Well, I'm a printer, but the thing of it is that all of my customers are in all of the other industries.
Right. So you could be the psychology of people for business owners, or the psychology of people for purchasing agents.
That's where I would need to go. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could have either one of those, and that would go ahead and multiply 10x your business. Matthew, are you thinking?
Would be cool.
Yeah, very cool. Matthew, any questions or thoughts that you have?
I was actually thinking, being how impactful the psychology of people is, I was actually thinking of the psychology of networking.
Nice.
The psychology of people for networking.
Nice.
Networking groups.
So do you know the thing that you have, Matthew, that nobody else has? You're over and above everybody else. You're out in front of everybody else.
I already signed up.
Yeah. Not only did you already sign up, you were the first person to sign up for the psychology of people because you trusted the integrity of the system. You weren't even through the leverage course yet. You had just signed up for that one, taken 1 or 2 or 3 lessons, were so moved by that one, you just said, man, I'm signing up for this one too. And so you trust the integrity of the system, and that's going to go ahead and bless your business. That's going to multiply your business because even though there's, you've had your share of mishaps with people and systems and all this other stuff, somehow you figured out, I'm going to learn how to forgive. I'm going to learn how to grow. I'm going to learn how to take ownership of it. And I'm going to continue to trust the integrity of the system. And I'm telling you, it's unbelievable what it's going to do. Peter Pabon, great to have you on. Thoughts, questions you have?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. No, I forgot. It's been a while since I've been on a call like this. Forgot it's like drinking out of a fire hose. So just a lot of information, a lot of great stuff going on.
And can you explain to people what you do?
Sure. Basically corporate finance. I've been in capital markets and trading in large asset finance types of transactions for, 30 years. So I basically raise capital for people and also place it and structure and close large ticket finances.
And what would be an average, what would be some of the sizes of the stuff you're working on?
Well, God willing, we're looking. We have a verbal mandate, but waiting for it in writing on a $220 million deal. I was awarded a $190 million portfolio I'm trying to sell right now. And then we have potential for a $400 million line for next year. So it's large, investment grade, usually assets, airplanes, trains, all sorts of different assets, kind of asset-based, though.
Yeah. Peter Miles, maybe I should have named one of my sons Peter. That's a good idea. I wonder if that gives you an edge, the numerology. It might. Anyways, Peter Miles, what would you call, the psychology, or either Peters, what would you call that, the psychology of people for what?
I'm not sure
I was thinking that too. I could not come up with one just because it's, somebody mentioned investors earlier, and so I deal with a lot of people that are looking to invest money, but then also looking for a lot of people that are looking for investors. So I couldn't figure it out.
Peter Miles?
No, I'm just thinking that, understanding what you mean, you're just looking for a psychology of ABC industry, or?
Well, no, the people that deal at the levels you guys deal with in money, yeah, I got a $440 million, yeah, but I just got a $223 million. It's just it's just like it's not a big deal. Like $200, $300, $400, $500 million is not a big deal. Like not a lot of people deal in that kind of that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, I simply say investors because I mean.
Yeah, but that nobody like. Yeah, I don't. When I think of investors, I don't think of I don't think of that level of investor. That level of investor, I'm thinking the psychology of people for family offices.
Well, that's the same thing as I would say. That's dealing in hundreds of millions and billions.
Right.
Depending on, I mean, there's big and small, right?
Right. Like, how much would you charge for that course?
I mean, depending on the context, you could say psychology of, security, that can be a whole range of things.
Right.
Stability or
right.
Risk.
Elise, questions, thoughts, anything you have?
No, I mean, I think just overall the conclusion for leverage, the great insights and tools that are available in that course, and then just looking forward to the psychology of people and all of the opportunities for any professional is exciting. So
It is. It's like, man, like the last 30 years have all come together in the most amazing way. Anyone else have any other thoughts? Go ahead.
Just one thing, I was just thinking about a question you posed, but I mean, the psychology of risk-reward, I guess, is, I mean, that applies to a lot of things, but there's no question to capital assets.
Right. Ooh. The psychology of people for capital assets. That might...
Oh, no, psychology of people for risk-reward. I mean, you can take that from going to Vegas and gambling to investing 200 million, 300 million, or $1 billion into real estate capital fund, a private equity fund.
So, Peter Pabon, question for you. Is like the 444 million, is that kind of like me going down and, I don't know, buying a $40,000 or $50,000 car? Is it kind of the same thing, or?
No, I mean,
no,
it's a big deal for anybody, to be working on, and but it's like anything, it breaks down to 20 to 50 million a month kind of deals. It's a line, but it's a big number for anybody, So I mean, and usually, it takes multiple investors, to get it done, and you have to have agreement and et cetera, on documents and how it happens, pricing, all sorts of stuff.
Did any of you guys...
The cars is,
Go ahead.
The cars is a depreciating asset, so it's a completely different thing. But in terms of, 400 million, if you've got 4 billion, it's 10%, right? So, if you're going to invest 10% of $100,000 or 10% of $1 million, it's 10% of whatever you've got. So if you look at it at it's varying degrees, but it's the same.
Right, Warren.
Sure, but regarding the risk reward, absolutely, yeah, that makes sense.
And Warren Buffett, he said his kids said the hardest thing that their dad gave to them to do was to give away $1 billion. And so Ken Bucci, good friend of mine, CPA out of Boston area, he's like, Mark, you have this life vision to touch every single person in the world, one person at a time, make a huge difference in every aspect of their life in a really fun and exciting way. And yep, that's 7.4 billion people. You got 7 kids, 7 continents. I mean, you've been thinking about this for like 47 years. Like, it's really, and it's like, Mark, what you like to reach 7.4 billion people, man, that's going to require a lot of money. I'm like, I know. He's like, why don't you go after, the people that have already made the billions and are giving it away? And I'm like, that's a good idea. I mean, that's a really good idea. What's that?
Even philanthropists want to know that they're getting good value on the money they, in quotes, give away. It's about what impact it has on their legacy at that point.
Right. And so my guess is, like, I don't know, did any of you, two people, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was, two people recommended, I think it's Bill's Mind or something like that. So it's Bill Gates' Mind. It's on Netflix, and so my wife and I have been going through, there's three, and it's like, you see him and his wife and how they think through it. I think often the billionaires that, you know, when I think of the billionaires I know and the multimillionaires that I know, they're more frugal than the people that aren't making money. Like they work hard. They have delayed gratified themselves. They're very careful with where they invest that money. And I think that's where Life Masteries Institute, I think that's where Legacy Partners, both 501c3 nonprofits, I think the Life GPS, life-gps.org, I believe that that's going to save people literally from suicide. I believe it's going to help people overcome addictions. I believe it's going to go ahead and help people reduce the pain, eliminate. It's not going to help people. It's going to heal people. It's going to heal them at the core level, which is how they think. Like that's what it's going to do. It's going to heal people how they think. The only ones I think that are going to be really ticked at this is maybe the big pharma companies. I mean, anyone in the drugs or the medical arena, I think they might be ticked because it's using the most powerful thing, I think, known to man, which is our brains, and it's helping us to learn how to think differently to solve our own problems. Now, I don't know, maybe big government, big education, big business, maybe big religion, maybe big pharma, maybe big media, maybe everything big might not like it. I don't know. It's going to impact people's lives forever. So I would think that, so if any of you know somebody who has a lot of affluence, they have something they want to do on a worldwide basis, the life-gps.org identify somebody's personality, and so much of the psychology of people is connected into that. Anyone else have anything else that you have? I just want to thank you all today for being part of the biggest presentation in my life. I believe this is what my life's work is all about. Is the psychology of people, is being able to help people to understand themselves and then other people. If you're listening to the rebroadcast of this, first off, thank the person who passed it along to you. They probably see something. They see more in you than you see in yourself. Seriously. Give them a hug if it's appropriate. If it's not, don't. Got to be careful. Anyway, but thank them and say, I really appreciate, what were you thinking I might use this for? So often other people see things in, us that we don't see in ourselves. I know that Alan has seen things in me I don't see in myself. Peter has. Tom has. Paul has. Actually, all of you see something in me that I don't see myself. I think I'm just kind of an average, below average kid that's been blessed with a lot and want to go ahead and impact other people. So pass this along to other people who you think have a lot of potential to go ahead and make a contribution, bigger contribution to more people than just their family and friends, but beyond that as well. If you have any questions on anything we covered today, feel free to connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300. That's 888-230-2300. Or if you're calling in outside the U.S., you can call the U.S.-based number at 630-393-9909. That's 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.